So welcome back to Learning Partner. In this video, we are going to create a CRUD application in Angular 17. So Angular 17 is there. Everyone in the interviews also, everyone is asking like what are the new things we have got in Angular 17, correct? Because the old version, whatever we had in before Angular 17, it is supported with Angular 17 also, but some new things are also there. So everyone is asking about, even though they don't have the project for Angular 17, but everyone is inquiring like, are you aware about the Angular 17 new features and not? But if you are preparing and once you clear the theoretical round, they are now companies are trying to ask to do the machine test round in Angular 17 also. Normally CRUD application, now CRUD application can be with API. If they provide the API, you can do the CRUD application with API. Or they will ask you to do the CRUD operation with local storage also, or JSON file. So these are the various ways. But specific to this episode, we are going to do the CRUD operation with local storage. So I have just tried to find the UI, how we should design the UI. So if you can see in the background, the back image, rather than displaying the list into the normal table format, we will try to design this kind of card to show the list of record. And here we will have a button on click of add button, we will open the model pop-up, and here we will do the coding. Here we will have the form of our the topic, whatever, let's say user registration or student registration, whatever we decide. Now, so this is the repository, Angular 17 CRUD local storage. This you can refer. The code I will be doing, I will be pushing into this. So now I have to clone. So this is my URL. Now I have to go to my folder. So this is the folder I'm using for all my Angular project. So let's open the CMD command prompt. I'm opening git clone. To clone the URL, we have to use this command git clone. Then you need to pass the URL. Enter. So currently I don't have anything. Folder is empty. So it will show like you have appeared to clone an empty repository because I don't have anything right now. So here you can see folder we have got. Now inside this folder, I have to create a new project. So again, I will open the command prompt. Same thing you can do from the Visual Studio also. ng new. Now I will give the same name, whatever the project name, so that it will be easy for me to remember. So project name I'm giving as Angular underscore 17 CRUD local storage. Let's enter. Now it will ask you some things like, do you need which CSS framework you need, and then do you need a server side rendering or not? So let it ask. Yeah. So you can see it is asking you, do you need a CSS framework, SAS, LESS, whatever. So we are currently going with CSS only. Then it is asking like, do you need a server side rendering? This is another thing what we have got in Angular 17 with the stable version. Like we can enable the server side rendering, but currently we are not going through that. So I will say no, enter. So this will create my basic Angular 17 project. Now it is installing the NPM, but I will stop this process because in my system, I have already created a folder where I have kept my Angular 17 node module that I will link to this project. So command I have over here to link this. I have created another video. If you are preparing for the interview, you might be creating multiple projects. So there is no point to keep, what do we say? Multiple copies of your node module in each project. Rather than create a single copy and move that. I'm just removing this and putting it into my parent folder. Now let's delete that. Now inside this folder, I will create the shortcut of my node module. So for that, I have to open the command prompt with administrative right. Then I have to go to this particular folder, cd angular, cd cd YouTube is my folder, then cd angular 17, then cd angular CRUD 17 local storage. Now inside this particular folder, I have to run my command, which will create a shortcut. Now let's check. So here you can see I have got the shortcut. If I go into it, it is navigating to my node module. Then in my node module, I have already installed Bootstrap and the Awesome.js also. Now let's open the project in Visual Code. Right click, new window. I'm opening a new folder for the first time. So I just have to select the new window, and there you have to open the particular folder which we have just created. open folder, paste the path. So this you have to open. Now, so as I said, like in Bootstrap, in Node module, I have already installed Bootstrap and the font awesome. So, but to use them, we need to add the CDN link. So that also I have it over here. This is just a CDN link. Sorry, the local path that we need to add it in the style section like this. This is the first thing I have did. Let's close it. Now, let me just zoom a little bit. Now, so let's consider what we are trying to do is let's try to create a reusable. We need a scenario like what type of CRUD operation we are going to do. Let's say we will register. We are going to create a student registration app. Correct. So when we say student registration app, what things we need? So when you are appearing for the interview, they will simply send you a, either they will provide you the mockup also, like what kind of UI you have to design, or they will simply tell you these are the fields. So let's say if we are designing, if we are creating a student registration app, what things we need to take when student is going to be registered. So let's say name, then contact number, email ID we have to ask, then his city, state, address, and pin code. Some basic thing. Again, you can add many more things, but for just to keep it so very simple, I'm just doing this. Name, contact number, email, city, state, and the address and the pin code. These are the things we are going to have. Now, components. How many components are we are going to need? So if we see the UI, as we have decided that we will create a component, and in that component, in the card, we will show the data. And on click of add button, we will open the model purpose. So obviously, only one component is needed. Either when we create the project, we get the app component by default, correct? So either you can use this component also, or you can create another component. It's your choice. So let's close it. Let's remove whatever we have got. Now in app component only, I'm going to do the CRUD operation. So let me just first run the application. To run the application, we have the command ng serve. Now, if you have to open the browser by default, so you can add -o. It will open the browser by default with localhost 4200. Now, so if you see the UI, so just this part. Okay, so here instead of composition plan, we will add add our page title like student list. So let's try to design that. So dot row, I will be using call 6. Then again, I will have call 6. In this call 6, I'm going to have button at the end. So that's why end class. Here I will write h4, and here we will say student portal. Just a meaningful name we are giving. Then we will have a button over here. Let's add some class to the button. btn. We will use outline class. Let's say the text will be add new. Let's just try to save and check if we are getting the proper thing. So you can see by default, it is opening to the localhost 4200. So here you can see text is there, and just add new button is also there. Before that, now let's just add a container so that we will have some space. We don't need the whole space, so we can use the container so that proper spacing will be around from all the corner. So you can see we have got it. Now, let me just add a padding top 3. Fine. Now, if we see the UI, first add new button is also there. So here, first we need to design the card. First, we will create some basic UI, then we will start the code. So after that row call, let's say in first column, we are in one row, we are going to show the 4 cards, means 4 record will be there. Then we have to use the card. Now, if we observe the UI, we need we will create a card header. Here we will show the student list. Here we won't have anything. but this basic detail we will show it, and at the end we will, in the footer we will show something. So let's just try to design the same. So card header, and in card header we will show student name. So let's say name. This is just a static, right? After card header we will need the card body. So card hyphen body. Now in card body, like these are the things we are going to discuss. Show name. So name we can show it over here, and contact number we can show at the end. You can see we have some logo. Instead of the logo, we can show the contact number. So in card header again we can create row column structure. Call 6. In first call 6 we will show the student name, and in remaining call 6 we will show the mobile number, but it will be at the end. So text hyphen end class. So our card header work is done. After that in card body. So in card body, what we can do is in simply a paragraph, we can show some information. Let's say paragraph. What we can display like email, we can display. So here email, then again one paragraph, city, state, pin code in one paragraph, and in the last we will show address. So this is card body, and in the card footer, let's see what we can display in the card footer. What is remaining? Nothing. So instead of putting email over here, we will display the card footer over here, but it will be text center. So text center. Let's save. And let's check if we are getting some proper UI. Yeah, so near about something we have got. Obviously, we won't be able to match the same thing, but we tried. Let's remove this card header color. We need it to be white. But before this card should be properly visible, we need the background page of some another page of some another color. So let's try to pick the same color from here. I'm just trying to pick this color. Color hash FFFF. Now I'm just trying to pick the color. This color I'm trying to pick. This is the color. So to my whole page, I will add this color. So, or let's just add over here with to the body. Background color, hash value. Let's just save and check if we have some background color now. Yes, I think we have a background color now. Yes, so you can see we have got the background color. Now let's try to remove this header color. We don't need that header to be gray. So card header, background color, let's make it white only. Background color, hash FFFF. So this is just a hash code for the background color. Let's say, oh, we need to add important also so that it will apply. Now it is looking properly. Correct. Now, so here we are going to this. This is just a static UI. Now on click of add new, we have to open the model pop-up. So obviously I said like Bootstrap is already installed. So let's go to Bootstrap 5 site. Let's get the code of the Bootstrap model, BS5 model. So this is just the model. So let's copy. Let's paste the UI at the end. So model pop-up we have got. Let's remove the necessary things. Now, as per UI, as per the image we are trying to do. So here we can have a label also. So let's add the label. So label will be create new student, just a label. Now, this model we have to open on this button click. So now to open the model on the button click, either we can write code or directly we can use this also. By adding hash this database model and the data property, we can do the open the model. But I will write the code to open the model pop-up. So what I need to do is click event, I will write open model. Let's create this function. Whenever we are appearing for the interview, we are trying to showcase our skill, right? So don't never try to directly use whatever things we have got by default things. Try to write the code so that they can analyze you like, yes, you can write the code. Now, either we can use, we just have to read the document or we just have to get that particular DOM element and we just have to add a dynamic style to open the model pop-up. So I will just explain that first. Model document dot get element by ID, the model ID. Let's get the model ID. So our model ID is my model. Let's copy, let's paste it over here. So here we will get the reference of that particular div. Now we just need to add a null check, like if we have got it or not equal to null. Now, if we have got it, then model dot style dot the CSS is like display is equal to block. So now let's save and check if we have on button click, we are able to open the model pop-up. So if I click, you can see we are able to open the model pop-up. Correct. So this is one way to open the model pop-up. Another way, as Angular says, never use the directly DOM APIs to interact with the DOM. So instead of this, we have got ViewChild also. ViewChild is just another way to get the reference of that particular DOM element. So let's try that. Let's remove this variable. We don't need it. So first thing, like we have to create the ViewChild. So let's write ViewChild. So once I select, you can see it is automatically added over here. ViewChild, then round bracket in single quote, we have to provide the element ID. So this is my element ID. We will provide it over here. Then my ViewChild name. So model colon data type we have to pass. Data type will be element ref because we are in this ViewChild, we are going to store the element reference. That's why element ref. It will say like it is not initialized. I got it. Let's try to what it's suggesting, add undefined. Okay, so let it be. So this is how we have created the ViewChild. So ViewChild is a way by which we can get the reference of a DOM element or a component instance also. So whatever the name we have added over here, this name will be added to the HTML as a hash property value, just like this. Then you will get a reference of this element. Correct? Now, so the first way I have shown you by using document.getElementById. By ID. Now on click of close, so this close, I will show the other way by using ViewChild. So click, close model, round bracket. Now in this function, we will close this model pop-up by using the ViewChild. So you will get to know like what are the various ways by which we can do it. Now this dot model dot native element dot. So this is equivalent to this. Then style dot display, none value we have to add. But now it will say like it can be null or means the ViewChild can be what do I say? It can be null. So we just have to add an additional check. Just like that, here also we can say we have added a null check. So just like that, if model is not equal to null, just an additional check we have to add. And then here we can do like this. And now we don't need the question mark. So yeah, this is how we do it. So let's just test if we are able to close the model pop-up. So add new, on click of close, you can see we are able to do that. Got it? So this is how you should target when you are appearing for a machine test? What are the new things? What you know that this is a way how you showcase your skill, what things you know. So try to use the view child in this kind of scenario. Correct? Now, now this same function we have to call on the bottom button also where we have the close. So here also same thing. Now, as we have discussed, like these are the various properties we are going to have. Correct? Now, either we can create class or interface to strongly type our model. So here I'm just going to create an class export student, sorry, export class student. Then what are the properties we have discussed? That properties we will create: name, colon string, mobile number, colon string, email, colon string, then city, state, pin code, and address. So city, colon string, state, data type again string, string, and address. Correct. So now if you see all the properties are giving error, like it has no initializer, it has no. So this is a class. So every class has a constructor. Either you can add a not over here. So you can see error is gone. Means we are saying this like this is an optional, but that is not a good way. So always, whenever you are creating a class, create a constructor, and this in this constructor just initialize all the properties. So all the properties are having the data type string. So I'm initializing with empty. This is the right way is expected from you. So you can see whatever the properties I'm giving, mobile number, spelling mistake is there. This dot, mobile number is equal to empty. This dot, what else is remaining? Name, state, this dot, and pin code. Got it? So our class is created. Always try to create the class, then in the constructor, just initialize whatever the default value you need to give it. Now we need to create a model object over here. So that will be student obj. Now data type we will give instead of any. Normally you might have given any or correct. So instead of any, now we have to use this student object. And we need to initialize it. It's a class, so we can initialize that. Correct? Now, so we have created basic UI. We have created the model also, like what are the properties we are going to have, and we have created object also. Next thing, we have to design the form in the model pop-up. So let's design the basic form. Row dot call, let's say 66. We will have a label over here. Inside label, let's say what else we can have, like name. What are the things we have? After label, I will have a text box. I will add class form control -sm class placeholder name. So now this I will just copy paste and complete my UI. Name, then mobile number. I will just copy this whole row. Then we have email. Either this name will have a long screen, means full screen. And then we will have mobile number over here. Instead of this call 6, we will have, let's say, call 8 just for the name. Then mobile number and the email. Then we have city state. So instead of call 6, we will create call 4, city, state, and pin code. So whenever you are designing the form also, now I know we are not UI developer, but forms on The inside application forms, table, these things only we have to design. In some companies, we have the specific UI developer. They will help if it is very complex UI or something. But the basic thing we have to do. So just understand like how do we design the basic form whenever you are appearing for the interview. So your form should be proper. It should not look like it is created by some fresher or he don't know HTML. Even though like we are Angular developers, still we are a UI developer. So we need to design the form also properly. The last thing we will have address. Now for address, we should use text area. Most of the people will directly create the text box, but that doesn't look good. Address will have multiple lines of code. So always go with the text area. Rows, let's say 3 rows I need it. Class, form, control, SM. Correct. So UI is completed, and in the footer we will have one more button to save employee. Sorry, save student. Instead of danger, let's add a success or primary. Let's save and check if UI is coming proper. On click of add. So form control SM is the class not present. Let's replace that with form control. Let's save. Yes, so now UI is coming properly. Let's just add a now. So name and the address. Address also, let's make it full screen. Like this. Now form is completed. We have created the object also. Now this object we have to bind to our form by using ng model. So now if you remember with the Angular version, if we have to use the ng model, we had to add the forms module in Angular 17. But now here we don't have an app module, correct? So in component only you got the import section. So here you need to add forms module. Let's just not add that and let's try to add it. Use it ng model. We will get the error that I'll showcase ng model. So here only you can see we have got the error like cannot bind ng model because we have to add the forms module. So here let's add the forms module. Now the error is gone. Got it? Now, so this is my object. So student object dot here. Now you can see the advantage of creating interface or class. You can see it is intelligencing what are the properties we have. So we don't make the spelling mistake and anything, correct? So this is the advantage. So now let's copy mobile. Now this is just the repetitive thing. We just have to change the properties. Email, city, state. For city and state, either you can create a static dropdown also, or a normal text box is also fine. If it is specifically mentioned like create a dropdown, just do create a dropdown. But just to keep the video length minimum, I'm just going with the normal text box, and this will be address. Got it? Now, so we have created the form, we have binded our object with the particular fields also. Next thing on click of save, we need to store the data into local storage. So save student. So let's create this function. Now, so whenever we are dealing with the local storage now, we need to be sure to check like if data is already there or not. Because if you directly save the data, the old data might get removed and the new data will be saved. So whenever you are saving, whenever you are appearing for the interview or whenever you are doing the CRUD operation in the with the local storage, so make sure first you read the local storage. If we have the data, then you just need to read that and push new element into that data and then save the updated one. But if you don't have, you can directly create a new array and save it. So let's do that. So constant is local present. So here we are going to check if in local storage we have the data or not. So get item is the method to read the item. So the key name will be Angular 17 Crud. This is the key name I will be using. Now, so if in the local storage we have the key with this name, we will get something. But if it is not there, we will get is null. So if it is not null, first check. Then else, if it is null, means this is the first time we are entering the data into the local storage. So this else block will be added. So here what I will do, constant new arr is equal to empty array I'm creating. Now to this empty array, what I will do, array dot push, and I have to push, sorry, yeah, we can create constant, this object, student object. Then we have to store the data, local storage dot set item, and this new array, we will store it over here. Sorry, key I have missed. So set item needs two parameter, key and the value. So first one is the key and second is the value. But whenever you can see we are getting the error. So when we are storing the data into the local storage, make sure local storage only understand the string type of data. It doesn't understand what is object or array. So while storing the data, we need to convert the array into string format. So json.stringify method we can use to convert new array over here. Now, this is what we are doing to store the data into local storage. If this else block is going to execute when this is the first time we are going to enter. But the first if block, if we have the data already in the local storage, so what we need to do again, same thing. So constant. Now you can see while storing the data, we are converting the data into the string. But now here, if we have the data in this variable, we will get the data. So now the string data, we have to again convert it back to the array format. So old array variable I'm creating, JSON dot parse method we have to use. So JSON dot stringify method is used to convert the object or array into string format. To convert it back to the object or array format, we have to use JSON dot parse. And here we need to pass the local data present variable, because in this variable, we will get the data from this key. Correct. Now, old array we have got. Now same thing, old array dot push, and we have to pass this object. And then we will store the data. So now this line will go over here. Here, this will be old array. Got it? So this is how we have done the save logic. Let's add a debugger and let's properly debug. Whenever you are writing the code for the first time, make sure you write the debugger over here or you add the debugger in the console, but make sure you are properly debugging the whole code for the first time. Now on click of add, yeah, we don't have any error. Let's try. So if you see in the application, let me just remove everything. So currently we don't have anything in the local storage. So we go to the application and then local storage, we get the local storage. Now let's try Sachin. Let's add a dummy mobile number. Let's add a email ID also. City, state, pin code, some address. Now on click of save, that function we are calling. So if I click, you can see our function is get called. Now if you see the this dot student object, now you will get all the properties whatever we have filled in the form. See, got it? Now we are trying to check the first line. We are trying to read the data from the local storage with this key. So currently we don't have anything. So if you can see over here, what we have got, null. So if it is not null, so it will go to the else block. So in else block, we have created empty array. In empty array, we have pushed the object. So here you can see in array, we have got one element. And now this we are trying to save to the local storage. Continue. Now if you go to the application, now here you can see we have got stored the data. Correct? Now let's reload. And let's try another time. Now in the local storage, we have the data of Sachin. Now let's try to add Rahul. Rahul@gmail.com. Let's say Pune, again Maharashtra. Let's add some dummy address. Let's enter proper address so that application will look proper. Now, if I click on save, now you can see now we will try to read the data from the local storage. Now we have the data. So this variable is not null. So now our if condition will run. So now we are trying. So if you see over here, whatever the data we have stored, that was in the string format. So you can see it is enclosed in the double quote. It is an array of object, but it is enclosed in the double quote. Whatever there it is in the double quote, it will be string. Correct. So now we have to convert it back to the array format. So we are using json.parse method. So now in old array, you can see we have got properly array. Now to this array, we are pushing the new object. So now in old array, you can see we have got two record. Something is wrong. So here you can see student, then we have got it. Why it is like this? The whole object it has moved. This should not be the case. Why it has added student over here and inside that it's student object. So here you can see it has pushed the element, but it has added property and inside that it will add. Let's just try how it is looking. Okay, so here we are getting it properly. Correct. So you can see this is the first element and the second element. This is for Rahul and this is for Sachin. Okay, so record is inserting properly. Correct. So our save method is done. But now on refresh or on the page load, we need to read the local storage data and that much card should be plotted. Correct. We have saved the data, but on the page load, we need to read the data also. And that whatever the records we have, that we need to display in the card. So on the page load, we need to write the code. So we can make use of the ng OnInit lifecycle hook. So that we have to add it over OnInit. And then we have to implement also. So implement OnInit. Once you do it now, it will ask you to create ng OnInit hook. Now, so once the page load, we need to read the local storage data and that we will store it in a variable. So let's create a variable student list colon. Now data type will be again of the data type student. It will be array. Let's initialize with empty. Now on the page load, we need to read the data. So constant local data is equal to local storage dot get item. The key name is whatever we have used while saving Angular 17 Crud. This only we have to pass it over here. Correct. Again, we need to add the if check. Like if we don't have the local storage, obviously we cannot do the operation. First, whenever you are reading the local storage data, make sure you add the null check. Local data not equal to null. Then we need to parse the data. So this dot where we need to store student list JSON. JSON dot parse method we have to use, and to parse what we have to pass local data. Now on the page load, ng on it will call. We are reading the local storage data, converting it back to the array, and we are storing into the student list. Now this student list we can use on the card. Now we are talking about Angular 17. So with the previous version, we know like to iterate the element we have ng for. But with Angular 17, you can use the standard for loop what we know. So this is the card and call 3 we have to iterate. So at the rate for loop we have, and this we can use. So instead of item, we need to pass our array, and this whole column we need to move inside this. So this is the standard for loop what we know. Now you don't need to depend on the ng for directive, because now the difference is why we have to use this. To use the ng for, let me just show you why we have to use it. If we have to use the ng for now, star ng for, you need to import one thing. What? Common module. Because ng for is a directive. It will come from the common module. So here you need to import the common module. But you are unnecessary overriding your component. You just need to iterate the elements. Why you have to use the ng for? You can do the same thing by using ng for loop also. So you are reducing one input. So that's why these are the new things we have got in Angular. So don't override your component. Whatever the required things you need to import, that only do. Correct? So if you just need to iterate the element, why you have to go for the ng for? You need to add the import. Use the normal for loop now. Correct? Now here. So instead of student name, we have to use the interpolation item dot name we have to show it over here, then mobile number, item dot mobile number we have to show it over here, city, then state, and the pin code. And in the last, we have to show the address and the email. Correct? So let's just save. Now our card should be dynamic. Here you can see in the local storage, we just had 2 records. So that 2 record is visible. Correct? Now, once I click on the add now, new record won't be visible because on click of add, now here we are showing the list we have in the student list. So once we click on the add also now, so this function, what we have to do at the end, so whatever the object we have now, that we need to push. So here, this dot, we just need to replace the old data. So this dot student list, sorry, is equal to old array because here we have pushed the new record. Old array, we are passing it over here. And same thing over here also, if we on the first load. So now, if we save on the, if we save, the new record will also be visible. So add new. Let's try Rohit. Let's add a dummy mobile number. Rohit@dummy.com. Let's say city, Pune, MH. Let's add some dummy mobile number, address. Now, once we save, our code save logic will run and the new record is also visible. See at the back, we have the record, new record visible. But once we save, this model pop-up is not hiding, correct? So see, new record is visible. On click of save, one more thing we have to do, we just need to call this function because we need to close the model pop-up now. So this function, you can call it once you are done with save. So this will close your model pop-up. Let's try now. On click of add, RAM. Now I'm adding just the dummy data. On click of save, you can see record got added and the model pop-up is also got closed. But now do observe one thing. If I again click on add new, you get the same data visible. I have closed the model pop-up. I am done with saving also. But if I try to add new records, still same data I am getting. That is because we have not cleared the model. Correct? This object we have not initialized again. So whenever you are opening a new model, make sure you initialize it again. So student object is equal to new, our object, that is student. So this way you are calling the constructor of this class. So all the properties will be initialized. Now let's just try. So let's say I'm adding some data. Let's see, it is getting removed. We have tried entering some data. If I close it and add new, so at every time when you click on the add new, that object is getting reinitialized. So you will get the proper form. Got it? So two things we have done. Crud operation we have done and the showing the list also done. The next thing is edit and the update and the delete. So let's try the update one. Now here at the footer, we will add the update button. So let's go over here in the footer. Let's add again row column structure. Call 6. First in call 6, we will add the email, and then in the call 6, we will have the button. Button class btn sm btn primary edit. Okay, so here you can see in each row we have got the button. Let's remove this paragraph. Oh, it is coming in the next line. We don't need 4 over here. Let's make it 2 or 4, 8. P9. Now UI is proper. Now on click of edit, we need to open the model pop-up with this code, whatever the data. Let's say if I click on Rohit, model pop-up should open with the Rohit data, correct? So let's write the code for that. So on click, we need to pass the whole object on edit, correct? And you need to pass the item, the for loop instance, this, you need to pass it to this function. Let's create this function. Now to this function, we have one parameter on edit, and we get the data also. So item data type, we can pass the student type of data only we are getting. And whatever the data we get, that we need to store in the student object. So student object is equal to item. And once we store the current record into the student object, we need to open the model pop-up. So this function we will call it. So this dot open model. Let's try this much now. If we are able to open the particular record. So if we click on edit on Rahul's, no, we are not getting. Let's try. Let's see why we are not getting. Let's add a debugger. Edit. We are getting the object. That object we are assigning to the student object. Okay, I will explain you now one thing. What we have done, on click of edit, we are opening the model pop-up. In open model pop-up, what we have did, we have initialized the object. So now this code, this will break our code. So now instead of doing this over here, we will close it. We will do that initialization in the close model pop-up. So now our code won't break. So if we click on edit, you can see the record is visible. Let's click on close. If we click on RAM, see wherever we are clicking, that record is visible over here. Now we need to write the update logic. So how do we write the update logic? So update is kind of tricky when we are working with the local storage because we don't have any unique thing, correct? So what we can do whenever we are inserting the data into the local storage, now make sure you add something unique to it, like student ID, customer ID, whatever your form is. So for now, I will just delete the record, whatever I have, or let's just edit it there only. It will be hard to edit over here. Edit B. So one more property I'm just going to add, that is ID colon number. Because to edit, I need something unique because I cannot compare with the name because name can be duplicate, right? So I need something unique. In case of real API, you will have primary key, correct? So that kind of thing. So here this dot ID is equal to initializing with 0. Now, whenever I'm creating new record now, I just need to get the length of the record I have currently and 1 plus 1 I will be adding. So this is the logic where we are adding new records. So here, so this dot student object dot ID is equal to, sorry, this we will do it over here. Whatever the current record we have, we need plus 1. So old array, here we have got the length. So dot length plus 1. So every time new ID will be there. And if it is the first record, if we are inserting for the first time, we will initialize with 1. Correct? So let's say first time we are adding the student ID 1. Next day we have length as 1 plus 1. So every time unique ID will be there. Let's remove the local storage and do the whole thing again. So that we will have proper data available. Let's clear it. Now you can see on the page load. Now one more thing. So you can see on the page load, we are not able to see. Currently, we don't have any data. This also we can add. This also we can just add a check that if we don't have any record in the currently in the local storage, we can show something like no record found. Correct. So for that, we can use star. Let's say instead of star in Jeep, we have something. Let me just find that. So this row should be rendered if we have some records over here. Otherwise, we need to display something like no record found it, correct? So for that, instead of using ngif, again, for if you have to use the ngif, you need to add the common model into your app.component.ts. But We are working with Angular 17, so we should use @ng if. So here I'm adding @if. Now condition, what will be condition? We can just check the length. So student list dot length not equal to 0. If it is not equal to 0, we will render this div. If you know React, you might find the syntax very similar. In the React also we have similar syntax. Then else to this. And here again I will create a row dot call to n. Inside that I will just add some padding. And here I will have a paragraph. Text center I will add. No record found. Create new record. Let's just save and let's see. See, currently I don't have any record, so you can see no record found is there. Correct? So now instead of directly using that ngif, you can make use of @if. So you don't need to import anything. So you are making your component lightweight. So when you are appearing for the machine test, do use and for @for and @if, so that interviewer will know like, yes, you are updated. Correct? Now, what we were doing? Yeah, so we need to test this code. Now, if I click on add new, Sachin, Pune. Now let's try to debug. So now we don't have any record in the local storage currently. This is the first time. So if it will go to the else block of our save student. Correct? So here we have added the array. Now student ID we are initializing with the 1 because this is the first record. Correct? So in over here, you get the ID 1. Now let's try again. Rahul. Mumbai, MH, some address. Now it will go to the if block because we currently have the data present in the local storage. So now here you can see we are what ID we are trying to make it dynamic. So old array dot length. Currently we have 1 plus 1. So 2. So here you can see student ID we have got 2. So every time we are adding the new record, we will get unique ID present in our every object. Now when we click on the edit, we know which record we are editing because we have something unique. So now, once we click on edit also now, you can see save student button is visible. If we are in the edit mode, so we should show update button. So for that also we can write the code. So again, we will use @ if only. So now in student object, in case of edit, we have the student ID present, correct? So we will again just write @if. Now, if the student condition will be if student object dot ID equal to 0, means this is insert mode, create mode. So we will show the save student button. Else, if it is not 0, then we will have some ID over here. So then we will have, instead of success, instead of primary, we will use another color. And this will be update student. Update. We need to create this function. Just like save, we will have another update. Let's just save and check if this hide and show is working properly or not. So in click of add new, you can see we are getting save student button. Let's try and click on edit. Now you can see update student is button visible. Correct? So this hide and show is working fine. Now on click of update, what we need to do? We need to, because we are not working with the API, we are storing the data into the local store. So what you can do, either you can replace 111 property from that particular array to that particular object, or let's try that first. So first, what I need to do, first I need to read the current record from whatever the record I'm inserting from my array. So current record is equal to this dot student list dot find. I have to find the particular record. because I had added some unique ID, right? So m.id, I have to match it with this dot student object dot id. That's why I had to add one unique ID to the object. Correct. So now here we can just add an additional check, like if current record is not undefined. Whenever you are writing the code with find now, make sure you are adding an additional check of undefined, not undefined. Then only you can use it. Correct. Now here you can, what you can do, either current record dot name is equal to this dot student object dot name. Like this, you can you can change one by one property. Current record dot address is equal to this dot student object dot address. So like this, you can keep on going, add all the properties. Sorry, current address dot mobile number. I'm just adding 2 or 3 properties, but you can write the whole thing. Now, this in this array, we are going to change the current, whatever the record we are updating, that we have changed in this array. Now, this array, again, we have to save. Again, we have to push to the local storage. So let's copy that line, this line only, and we will pass student list over here. Now we have done the modification to the array. Now that array, we are again saving it back to the local storage. Correct? So let's save and check. So let's try to edit this, and let's try to provide the mobile number with 88. Let's click on update, but we have not closed the model pop-up. Let's reload again. So now you can see updated record is there. So once we do the update again, we need to close the model pop-up also. So this function, we can call it over here. So this is how you do the update in case of local storage. Now only one thing is remaining, that is delete. So let's add a delete button also. Then we are done with our application. I know this video is too long, but I had to explain new things also. So that's why it might have been a little bit longer. delete, delete. This will be delete. Instead of primary, let's add a danger color. Now let's say 1 and 4. Let's create this function. Just like that, we are going to get the parameter. Let's see if UI is proper. I thought it. Let's make this in a small tag so that it will have a less space. Instead of 7, let's make it 6. Say 1, 5, let's see. Still we are not getting it. Okay, let it be. UI is not what we are targeting. Okay, so now on click of edit, we are passing the object which we have to remove. So here on click of delete, you might have seen we get the pop-up like, do you need to remove the record or not? So that we can achieve by using confirm box is delete. We can use the confirm box, and here you can pass the message. Are you sure want to delete? Like this. And if on click of confirm, you get in confirm box, you get okay and the cancel. If user clicks on okay, you get true. And if user clicks on cancel, you get false. So we just need to check that. So if is delete is having true, we will delete our code. Otherwise, we won't do anything. Now again to delete, this is the same line we will use. So currently what we are trying to do, we will delete the data from the array, and then we will store that array again into the local storage, the new array with the deleted record. Now we need to find the index. To delete the record, we have to use find index method. And this find index method we can use with the splice method of the array. Dot splice. And we need to pass the index. And how many record? Only one record. So this will remove the record. Again, we need to store the updated record. So this will go over here. Let's test it. So now if we click on delete, we get this pop-up. If I click on cancel, nothing will happen. If we click on delete, you can see that record got deleted. Correct? So this is how we have completed our Angular 17 local storage CRUD. with some some new things, whatever we have got in the Angular 17. At the rate for loop, at the rate if statement, then you got to know like where you need to add the imports like this, correct? So I hope this video was helpful to you. If you are preparing for the interview, make sure you are making aware yourself with the new things in Angular 17 so that your question won't get empty, correct? So that's it with this video. Please do like and subscribe.